Hello guys, we got more LaserDisc's. So I'm going to be doing a video on basically all the LaserDisc's that I've picked up within the last week. They started to start coming in the mail, so now there's two titles here that were sealed and decided that I was going to open them. So the two that we have that were sealed, but I did not do a video on unsealing them. I just opened them up and watched them because I was really wanting to watch it, and I just didn't want to film unwrapping them, but I did put them in some protective sleeves. So I'm going to buy more of these protective sleeves because if you're a huge fan of LaserDisc's like I am, and if you care about your LaserDisc's, you'll want to put them into something that can protect the artwork and the discs themselves, and that is these little protective sleeves. So these sleeves are really good for protecting your LaserDisc's. So I try to buy them sealed, and it's always good to try to buy them sealed because then I know the discs are not scratched or anything. So we have Roger and Me, which was a documentary, and it was talking about the automotive plants from GM that were being closed down, and basically opened up the plant in Mexico to pay workers less money than they would pay in the US. So it's an interesting documentary, but basically talks about, Detroit, Michigan, about the GM closing their factory, and all these people lose their jobs, and they even show some people getting evicted from their homes. So this really story here is it's an information, just an important historical thing that happened, so it really does suck that thousands of people, well, not thousands, but hundreds of people lost, at least, 100 people, maybe more, lost their jobs working at GM. And so, interesting documentary, and if you haven't seen this movie, I recommend you do so. This is basically just a documentary, and very good, pretty good film actually. So yeah, but I watched, first time I ever seen this film was back in high school. My history teacher, Mr. McCorkle, actually showed this film to the class, and I remember borrowing his videotape of it, his VHS of it. So kind of an interesting documentary. Then we have U.S. Marshals, which this is a Japanese pressing, and this was sealed as well, but I opened it last night and watched, or no, the night before I opened it, and I watched it last night. This movie I've seen a few times, and I like this movie. It's a great movie. U.S. Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones, Wesley Snipes, Robert Downey Jr. Interesting film, great movie, great action film. You know, somebody who is, you know, a fugitive on the run, being chased, you know, by the cops. So, and there's the back. And then now we have an important one that we're gonna take a look here. So we got the a sealed copy of Son of Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, Billy Lugosi, and Basil Rathbone. I haven't heard of Basil Rathbone, but he's probably okay. But anything that has to do with Boris Karloff, I usually like. And Billy Lugosi's pretty good too. You know, of course, these guys have been dead for probably 40 plus years. They've been dead probably a long time. But it is still great that we get to see their performances on films that have been, you know, basically preserved forever, basically. But this is another encore edition, MCA LaserDisc pressing release, and I actually have this on Betamax. So maybe we'll get out the Betamax tape of it and I'll show you what it looks like. But yeah, so this is also a rare LaserDisc. You don't find this one very often. I was very lucky to come across it on eBay. I actually bought this thing still sealed. As you can see, this thing is completely sealed, and we need to I'm gonna open it, but you can see where they seal the shrink wrap together. So you can see it's still sealed and still looks great. And I'm gonna put a protective sleeve, put it in a protective sleeve, keep it protected, keep it looking good for years to come. And the person that did put these, the person that shipped it did a very good job protecting it. So, you know, and I wish that I could get discs with perfect corners, but that's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter if it's sealed or not. You're still going to have some damage to the corners, unfortunately. You know, it's just the way it is, I guess. You know, I can smush them and try to correct the corners, make them look as best as I can just by bending it back, but you know, unfortunately that's just the way it is with the LaserDiscs. So, because they've been, you know, they're old, they're over, you know, the LaserDiscs are starting to get to the point where they're 20 plus years old. So, yeah. Anyway, so let's open this one. I'm going to go ahead and put these other two back on the shelf. I just wanted to show you my latest finds. This is U.S. Marshals. So this is Japanese pressing, like I said, and it's got the Japanese logo right there. And this pretty much, this whole strip is very famous for all of the Japanese LaserDiscs. They have this little thing on the side, which is a great thing to have. If you still have it, this is great to have because, you know, anyway, so we're gonna put these two away. Okay guys, so I broke the seal here up at the top, so now I'm just gonna rip it off. it's off. Shrink wrap is off. Now, the price of this film was originally $14.98. So basically, this was a $15 LaserDisc. And still got the Pioneer logo. That means that this was pressed by Pioneer. It was made by Pioneer. So you know this is going to be a good quality LaserDisc, because Pioneer did things a little bit better than some of the other LaserDisc manufacturers. You know, they had a completely air filtered room, the room that was filtered with filters to keep as much dust out as possible. Probably they've got the dust removed probably 98% or maybe more, you know. So the quality checks as well is bad. I think LaserDisc's, you know, Pioneer just did an awesome job on manufacturing LaserDiscs. Now, there are other electronics companies that were making discs, such as Mitsubishi, and there were some other ones too. But we're gonna open this. So what I'm gonna do is put a protective sleeve over it, and put it into the horror movie collection. So monster movie collection. So let's pull out the disc. I'm just gonna make sure the disc is okay. So we're gonna pull it out. The disc is perfect, guys. A little bit of dust, a speck of dust, got it blown off. Okay, so we got a disc here that is in perfect condition. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back into its sleeve, and we'll put this into a protective sleeve, and that'll be it on this particular LaserDisc. So I do have another one coming, the last one that's coming for this month, which is going to be Mist Outfire. Mist Outfire is probably one of Robin Williams' best performances I've ever seen. One of the best films that he was ever in. You know, of course, he started out as a comedian and became an actor as well, so that was really cool. So yeah, let's put this thing back together and put it in a protective sleeve, and we'll put it with the other LaserDisc. Okay, so I got it in the protective sleeve, the last sleeve that I have, so I'm gonna need to order some more sleeves, and that'll be it. But I thought I'd give you a look at my Betamax tape of this film. So it is the beta version, beta hi-fi. Pull my tape out there. We'll see we'll show you the tape here. And there's the tape, Son of Frankenstein, on beta. And this is actually on a Sony cassette as well, so, which is cool. So I just thought you guys might like to see the Betamax tape of it. And I got some more LaserDiscs that I picked up within the last week. And I do have some more coming in. I've got Men in Black, which is supposed to come in tomorrow. And I have the Dirty Harry Clint Eastwood LaserDisc boxed set that comes with all of the Dirty Harry movies. Hi guys, this is the Betamax man here. Got some more LaserDiscs, and I've got more coming in. So tomorrow, which is Monday, but I may not be able to film it or upload it till later, but I've got Men in Black coming, and then I have all of the Dirty Harry Clint Eastwood films coming in a boxed set, which is it was a LaserDisc box set that had like 4 or 5 movies in them. I think there were 5 films of the Dirty Harry movies, and those probably going to take a couple weeks to get because they're coming from clear across the United States. So I live in Oregon, and they are coming from, I believe, what was that, Minnesota or something like that? I don't know. Can't remember exactly, but I know that it's going to be a couple weeks before I get them. But anyway, so these are some titles that I've recently got. Now, some of these titles you've probably already seen in a previous video. But we're going to go ahead and show them again anyway, because I'm not 100% sure that I showed them. Well, one of them I'm sure I showed, but the other ones I'm not really sure. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is, we have Miss Doubtfire with Robin Williams and Sally Fields, which, 2 great actors. I mean, 2 of them just really good, and I really like them. This movie was one of my favorite ones back as a kid, growing up, and I believe this film came out in theaters in '93, somewhere around in there, and I think it made it on video cassette in '94. And the reason why I say video cassette and not VHS is because, believe it or not, even in 1994 you could still order movies on the beta format. So you could still get beta movies. However, you had to special order them, and they costed you a lot more to get, because, you know, the stores, by '94, the stores had, you know, stopped selling movies on the beta format. But yeah, this movie would have been released on both formats. More or less, it would have been released on, like, I would say 90% on VHS and maybe 10% on beta. I have not seen any copies of this film on beta as of yet, but if I ever do come across one, I will definitely pick it up. So anyway, but we got Miss Doubtfire. Now, this LaserDisc was supposed to be a brand new sealed LaserDisc, and it wasn't. It arrived to me and it was not sealed. It didn't even have any of the wrapping on it. It's got some damage on the corners, and there's some top damage there. So the seller lied, and I contacted them. I said, hey, you know, you said this thing was brand new, sealed. It's not. And I said the corners are all smashed in. I said, you know, this is really dishonest. And he says, well, it was a typo. You can see in the pictures that it wasn't sealed. Well, it just so happens that I didn't look at all of the photos. I just seen the first photo. Had I looked at the photos more carefully, I would have seen that no, it wasn't sealed. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, don't sit there and say it's brand new and sealed when it's clearly not, you know. So, yes, I should have looked more, you know, but the seller shouldn't be saying something is brand new factory sealed when it's obviously not. So that really made me mad, and if it wasn't going to, you know, affect my feedback, I would give him negative feedback for lying. But it still plays. I mean, the discs. I watched this movie the other night, Wednesday I think it was, when I watched it. So it's been a couple nights ago that I watched it. You know, and it was fine. I mean, it plays all the way through. There are some minor scratches on it, but they don't affect the playback. Now we have favorite. This one was sealed, and I think I did do a video on unwrapping this one. I don't remember. I may have the video still. If I do, I will show the video of me unwrapping this, but this was a sealed copy. This is Son of Frankenstein. This was the last Frankenstein movie with Boris Karloff. After this particular Frankenstein movie, Boris Karloff is not in them as the monster. I think he was in another Frankenstein film, but he wasn't playing the monster. He was playing a different character. So, but this is he was only in 3 of the Frankenstein films. He played the monster. So that was the original Frankenstein. Then you had Bride of Frankenstein, and then you had Son of Frankenstein. So this is the last one, and I have this on beta as well. So this one is also on Betamax, that I have a beta copy of it, which I'm very proud of. And the cool thing is that, hey, now that I have it on LaserDisc, so I can watch my LaserDisc instead of my beta tape, and not wear out my beta tape. I can just watch it on LaserDisc, and of course, I prefer to watch it on LaserDisc over Betamax anyway because of picture quality. And I know that that's kind of a hard thing to say. Somebody who is as big a fan as on the beta format as I am, it's kind of hard for you guys to understand that I would prefer to watch the LaserDisc over the Betamax tape, but I do. So this is pretty cool. And then here's one that, yeah, this one that we definitely already showed. This is Flubber. And there's the back. And this one was a sealed copy. Now this actually has DTS. This has AC3 soundtrack. So, but it says digital surround playback requires the use of a DTS decoder. So this has got AC3 Dolby Digital surround. And it's got both the digital audio and the analog. And if you don't have a decoder, like me, I do not yet have a decoder, you can select the analog soundtrack and you'll be able to watch the film. So I just switched it over to the analog track, and I was able to watch the film. And it's a cool movie. I like the film. You know, and it sucks that he's no longer with us. You know, some people say it was suicide. Some people say it wasn't, and it's kind of hard to believe, but it is kind of hard to believe that he would commit suicide. I mean, he did have a disease, and yeah, he lived with it for a very long time, so why would he just end his life, you know, because he's had that disease for many, many years, so, you know, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me that he would kill himself. I don't want to believe that. I think that, you know, he was probably just I don't know why he died, but anyway, we have another movie here, as you can see. The Little Mermaid. This one I've been after for quite some time, and this one was in decent condition. It was used. This is a used copy, but it's not in that bad a shape. There's a little damage here on the sides here, but that was not listed in the ad, so he obviously was hiding that from me. But it's extended play, so it's CLV, so it's just on the one disc. And this is the pan and scan version, so this is the same transfer as what was put on the Betamax and VHS release. It was mastered from the same source, and this is the pan and scan. They do have a widescreen release, and I do want to later on buy the widescreen theatrical release. I mean, this is a theatrical release as well. It's just this is the full screen, so it's not the way it would have been shown in the theater. This is different from the way it would have been shown in the theaters. Of course, there's the back. And then we have one of my favorite movies. It's got Tommy Lee Jones in it. U.S. Marshals. He was in so many different films. One of my favorite films is this one that he was in, and this one is quite an interesting movie, you know, and it turns out that in the end, you know, one of the good guys turned out to be a bad guy, so very interesting. And of course, Wesley Snipes is in it. Now, I'm not a fan of Wesley Snipes, but I know that there are a lot of people who are a fan of him. Now, I think he did pretty good in this film. I don't think that he was all that great, but he did okay in this film. But now, this was the Japanese release, and this was sealed. This was a sealed copy, which is why I purchased it, because it was sealed. I would have rather had the American one, but it's okay. It was a Japanese print, and it was sealed, and, you know, yes, it's in, it's letterboxed, and I think that the subtitles are in a little bit on the picture on the bottom, so I mean that part does suck. I don't know why they didn't just move the subtitles to the black part. They should have put them on the black part, not the actual film itself. But you know, I can't argue. I mean, it is what it is, and you know, it was a $25 disc, but it was worth it because, like I said, it was a brand new sealed disc, and it has, of course, the little Japanese paper sticker that goes over the side of it. So this one was a good one. And then we have Roger and Me, which was a documentary video which talked about General Motors closing down their factories in Flint, Michigan, and they opened up plants in Mexico so that they could pay less money to make cars. So, okay, they closed down their plant in the U.S. to make cars in Mexico because they could make them a lot cheaper. So they could pay, you know, Mexican workers, you know, something like 10 cents on the dollar, you know, to make cars. And I've always been a Ford guy myself, so I never have liked General Motors. I never have liked Chevy. Chevy's always broke down on me, and everybody wants to rag on the Fords, but you know what? I've never had one Ford that let me down. I have never had not one Ford leave me stranded. Although my dad had one that left us kind of stranded, so that sucked. But I'm a Ford guy, so, you know, I'm not a Chevy guy, but I thought this was an interesting story, documentary, because not only was it talking about General Motors closing their plant in Floyd, Michigan, but it was also talking about how badly it affected the workers, the employees, you know, and how badly it affected that town, you know, and they even talked a little bit about, you know, people getting evicted from their homes. So it was kind of sad too, because, you know, you got people that lose their jobs and can no longer afford to live. I mean, it's kind of sad. But it did have some good moments in the film. It kind of gave you a little bit of a glimpse of what was actually happening in GM. And this film was back in the 80s. And the story of a rebel and his mic. So they have this on Betamax, although I haven't found any listings on the beta format yet. I'm still looking for this film on beta. Maybe one day I'll find it and I'll get it on Betamax. I did just order Gunsmoke, which was a TV series back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, on beta. So it was listed as a VHS tape, but by me looking at it, I distinctly found out that this was indeed a beta copy, and so I'm waiting for that to come in the mail, but that's gonna be next Monday. Next Monday before I'll even get it. But I've got a couple beta titles that are coming in that we'll be able to look at. And so, because I've done a lot of LaserDisc's this month, and I do need to start getting back into collecting more of the beta format, because beta format is my favorite format, and LaserDisc's as well. So, you know, with LaserDisc's, you know, they're fantastic, and I just love LaserDisc's. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, I would say that my most proud possession this month would be this U.S. Marshals, because this movie was awesome, and I really like this film. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.